How does the famous quotation go? I'll tell you how it goes, simply because I have it right here. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. Hello and welcome, or welcome back to my channel. My name is David Novak. I have my favorite beverage of choice for the moment, and it is not what you think it is. So this is going to be completely impromptu. Yesterday I did a reading of poetry by W.H. Auden, and I was surprised that actually some people came and watched it. One does not expect that with poetry. This is supposed to be a booktube channel. And I am moving ahead with my reading objectives, but not at the pace that I would really like, ideally. And part of that is because, actually a lot of that is because I am trying to pay attention to what's going on in my country, the United States of America, trying to keep tabs on the news, and sometimes I just want to keep tabs on what decent people are feeling, since we know that the very concept of decency has taken quite a big hit in our political environment and beyond. So I'm still reading and reading enough, but not where I would like to be, because I'm watching YouTube channels such as that belonging to Texas Paul. His handle is The Real Texas Paul. People who are trying to fill you in on the news now that a lot of the news that we get is subject to questioning. I will put a link to his video today. But I find that I need something restorative to just bring me back. How did the line go? To toll me back to my soul self, or whatever that line is. And poetry does that. And so I started with the Eliot quote because when I started this channel, it was for the purpose of reading poetry, reading individual poems aloud as a means to distract myself from the news 4 years ago, or 4.5 years ago in the election cycle. And it served the purpose admirably. But I have not really been a genuine reader of poetry for a long time. My book of sonnets came out, I'm going to guess 1993. Well, it didn't come out, it was written. And one of the sonnets said something, I never anymore read poetry, something because of my life, because of the utter change she, meaning the beloved, wrought in me. I can't quote it verbatim, I'm sorry. But that's actually the truth. If one writes poetry and one sort of sees the man behind the curtain, to put it in Wizard of Oz terms, you understand that there is a backstory to every poem, which is based on a substantial event in life. And despite the ever-changing kaleidoscope of permutations, meaning the different poems that are brought forth at the instigation of the muse. They all derive from the self-same thing, and they all rely upon the self-same mechanism. Now, what that is and so forth, it's one of those things there's no point in going into. One has to have been there to know that place. So we writers of poetry belong to a kind of confederacy. I think that may have been the word Dickinson used, not meaning it in the sense of the American Civil War context at all. So when I gave that reading yesterday of W.H. Auden, I initially had thought of doing one of Auden and Yeats, because one of the poems was the epitaph by Auden for Yeats, who died in January 1939. But there was enough stuff by Auden to not need to share the bill. But I thought that I would just read some poems by Yeats tonight as I say, a way to try to bring me back to a level space. I mentioned, and I will link again, I don't know where the article is, a thing by Sven Birkerts about the role or the function of poetry. And poetry makes nothing happen. But it does give us a space, kind of a buffering zone between us and what is happening out there. And it may well be unreal, but it is strong enough to stand up to what is real out there. I brought my Yeats. If you are a speaker of English and you profess to love poetry and you do not own this book, well, then I would be a little bit suspicious that you are not what you profess to be. Now, I have to say this book looks like it's pretty much unread, and it's only been read once by me. And the reason for that is when I got it, I read through it, but I found that pretty much everything that I love most is in this book. Now, keep in mind, I said I have not read poems since 1993 or whatever, but still, occasionally one does. And so this is handy. I think a later edition said, and 3 plays, and I think even a later edition said, and 4 plays, without really much significant change in the book. But it's really a lovely edition and very handy. Sorry, kid, you got to stay here for a bit. Oh. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the cat. So I thought I would poke through this a little bit, or the other. I'm not familiar with this book at all. It's not like I memorize these things. The other one, I'm pretty. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I don't know what I was going to say. I'll begin with the couple of poems that I have marked, which I must have marked for some reason. There he goes. This one is titled 16 Dead Men. Oh, but we talked at large before the 16 men were shot. But who can talk of give and take, what should be and what not, while those dead men are loitering there to stir the boiling pot? You say that we should still the land till Germany's overcome. But who is there to argue that, now Pierce is deaf and dumb? And is there logic to outweigh MacDonough's bony thumb? How could you dream they'd listen, that have an ear alone for those new comrades they have found, Lord Edward and Wolfe Tone? Or meddle with our give and take, that converse bone to bone? I suppose it should be that converse bone to bone, but as Yeats points out in a footnote somewhere, his pronunciation was sometimes a little different, so he did not say my fanatic heart, he would say my fanatic heart. So I don't know why I marked that one. I do know why the next couple I did mark, and I will read both of them. They are both pertaining to Roger Casement. This is Roger Casement after reading the forged Casement diaries by Dr. Maloney. I say that Roger Casement did what he had to do. He died upon the gallows, but that is nothing new. Afraid they might be beaten before the bench of time, they turned a trick by forgery and blackened his good name. A perjurer stood ready to prove their forgery true. They gave it out to all the world, and that is something new. For Spring Rice had to whisper it, being their ambassador, and then the speakers got it, and writers by the score. Come Tom and Dick, come all the troop that cried it far and wide. Come from the forger and his desk, desert the perjurer's side. Come speak your bit in public, that some amends be made to this most gallant gentleman that is in quicklime laid. So I should just add as a footnote that the Casement diaries, which Yeats thought were a forgery, I think pretty much beyond shadow of doubt have come to be regarded as legitimate. And you can buy them. I don't remember if it's really exorbitant and or if there's different editions with different stuff. I have something and I've read it, but I really don't remember because it is so long. Now the next poem, I wish I had brought my I have a book by Roger Casement down to show you his photograph. This is The Ghost of Roger Casement. And I think I've done something using some of this somehow. The Ghost of Roger Casement. Oh, what has made that sudden noise? What on the threshold stands? It never crossed the sea because John Bull and the sea are friends. But this is not the old sea, nor this the old seashore. What gave that roar of mockery, that roar in the sea's roar? The ghost of Roger Casement is beating on the door. John Bull has stood for Parliament. A dog must have his day. The country thinks no end of him, for he knows how to say, at a bean fest or a banquet, that all must hang their trust upon the British Empire, upon the Church of Christ. The ghost of Roger Casement is beating on the door. John Bull has gone to India, and all must pay him heed, for histories are there to prove that none of another breed has had a like inheritance or sucked such milk as he, and there's no luck about a house if it lack honesty. The ghost of Roger Casement is beating on the door. I poked about a village church and found his family tomb, and copied out what I could read in that religious gloom. Found many a famous man there, but fame and virtue rot. Draw round, beloved and bitter men, draw round and raise a shout. The ghost of Roger Casement is beating on the door. I think in a recent video I showed that book, The Devil and Mr. Casement, or something like that. Casement not only went to the Congo to try to and subsequently tried to draw back the veil from King Leopold's free Congo state. He also later visited the Amazon and took note of what was happening in the rubber plantations there. He is a truly heroic figure, and Yeats may well have gotten it wrong about the forged diaries, but no one suspects that Yeats's heart was in the wrong place. And this line reading really struck me. And there's no luck about a house if it lack honesty. That really describes the United States of America right now, a country that has removed itself very far from honesty. It's interesting. Somebody commented on a short that I did, and I forget, they said, oh, it just shows that you're TDS. Well, of course I had to look it up. And it refers to something called Trump derangement syndrome. And you realize that these folks want to pin a label on you. They feel that they can pin a label on you, and then they can brush you off with a wafture of the hand. Well, I'm not interested in having anybody's label pinned to me. I'll just shift to this book. On being asked for a war poem. I think it better that in times like these, a poet's mouth be silent, for in truth, we have no gift to set a statesman right. He has enough of meddling who can please a young girl in the indolence of her youth, or an old man upon a winter's night. 1916. It's not to say Yeats was a flawless human being, to be sure. He denigrated the poetry of Wilfred Owen, which sort of mars his reputation a little bit. But I don't think anybody would say that Yeats was not a good man. So I'm going to try to pick some things that I don't know so well, but I'll try to put in some things that I do know a little bit better. The death. Oh, wait. Yeah, the death of the hare. I have pointed out the yelling pack. The hare leap to the wood. And when I pass a compliment, rejoice as lover should, at the drooping of an eye, at the mantling of the blood. Then suddenly my heart is wrung by her distracted air, and I remember wildness lost, and after swept from there, am set down standing in the wood at the death of the hare. And I should say, because I'm not super familiar with some of these poems, with Yeats, one is apt to bump into some word or some name of a famous person that is just impossible to pronounce. I will do the best to avoid those things. Well, I can't let this poem pass by for Anne Gregory. Never shall a young man thrown into despair by those great honey-colored ramparts at your ear love you for yourself alone and not your yellow hair. But I can get a hair dye and set such color there, brown or black or carrot, that young men in despair may love me for myself alone and not my yellow hair. I heard an old religious man but yesternight declare that he had found a text to prove that only God, my dear, could love you for yourself alone and not your yellow hair. Swift's epitaph. Jonathan Swift, of course. Swift has sailed into his rest. Savage indignation there cannot lacerate his breast. Imitate him if you dare. World-besotted traveler, he served human liberty. The choice. The intellect of man is forced to choose perfection of the life or of the work. And if it take the second, must refuse a heavenly mansion raging in the dark. When all that story's finished, what's the news? In luck or out, the toil has left its mark. That old perplexity and empty purse, or the day's vanity, the night's remorse. Let's go into some of the Crazy Jane poems. Yeah, I'll just read the ones that they have here. Possibly I should go to the complete, but I don't know if I would find it. Well, let me see. Maybe I can. I certainly don't know all of them. Let's see if I can find this stuff. If there's an index to titles, yep, there is. 55. Let's see. Now I don't know if it's page number or if it's the poem number. Ah, here we go. Yeah, this is Yeah, okay. Well, ooh, I don't know. No, I think I can do all of this. This is Words for Music, perhaps. And then it has individual poems. One, Crazy Jane and the Bishop. Bring me to the blasted oak, that I, midnight upon the stroke, all find safety in the tomb. May call down curses on his head, because of my dear Jack that's dead. Coxcomb was the least, he said, the solid man and the coxcomb. Nor was he bishop when his ban banished Jack the journeyman, all find safety in the tomb. Nor so much as parish priest, yet he, an old book in his fist, cried that we lived like beast and beast, the solid man and the coxcomb. The bishop has a skin, God knows, wrinkled like the foot of a goose, all find safety in the tomb. Nor can he hide in holy black the heron's hunch upon his back, but a birch tree stood my Jack, the solid man and the coxcomb. Jack had my virginity, and bids me to the oak, for he, all find safety in the tomb, wanders out into the night, and there is shelter under it. But should that other come, I spit, the solid man and the coxcomb. Number 2. Crazy Jane reproved. I care not what the sailors say, all those dreadful thunderstones, all that storm that blots the day can but show that heaven yawns. Great Europa played the fool that changed a lover for a bull. Fal-de-roll, fal-de-roll. To round that shell's elaborate whorl, adorning every secret track, with the delicate mother of pearl, made the joints of heaven crack. So never hang your heart upon a roaring, ranting journeyman. Fal-de-roll, fal-de-roll. 3. Crazy Jane on the Day of Judgment. Love is all unsatisfied, that cannot take the whole body and soul, and that is what Jane said. Take the sour if you take me, I can scoff and lour and scold for an hour. That's certainly the case, said he. Naked I lay, the grass my bed, naked and hidden away that black day, and that is what Jane said. What can be shown, what true love be? All could be known or shown if time were but gone. That's certainly the case, said he. 4. Crazy Jane and Jack the Journeyman. I know, although when looks meet, I tremble to the bone, the more I leave the door unlatched, the sooner love is gone. For love is but a skein unwound between the dark and dawn. A lonely ghost the ghost is, that to God shall come. I, love's skein upon the ground, my body in the tomb, shall leap into the light lost in my mother's womb. But were I left to lie alone in an empty bed, the skein so bound us ghost to ghost, when he turned his head, passing on the road that night, mine would walk being dead. So there's a case, the word S-K-E-I-N, probably the only place I've ever encountered it was in Yeats, and I don't really recall the pronunciation. 5. Crazy Jane on God. That lover of a night came when he would, went in the dawning light, whether I would or no. Men come, men go, all things remain in God. Banners choke the sky, men at arms tread, armored horses neigh, where the great battle was in the narrow pass. All things remain in God. Before their eyes a house that from childhood stood, uninhabited, ruinous, suddenly lit up from door to top. All things remain in God. I had wild Jack for a lover, though like a road that men pass over, my body makes no moan, but sings on. All things remain in God. Prepare yourself for the next one. Crazy Jane talks with the bishop. I met the bishop on the road, and much said he and I. Those breasts are flat and fallen now, those veins must soon be dry. Live in a heavenly mansion, not in some foul sty. Fair and foul are near of kin, and fair needs foul, I cried. My friends are gone, but that's a truth, nor grave nor bed denied, learned in bodily lowliness and in the heart's pride. A woman can be proud and stiff when on love intent, but love has pitched his mansion in the place of excrement, for nothing can be soul or whole that has not been rent. That was number 6. I've been reading the Jesuits in New York, not in New York, in North America by Francis Parkman. And some of this stuff greatly echoes what these clergy, I guess you would say, are telling everybody that they come across. Just very interesting. Number 7, Crazy Jane, grown old, looks at the dancers. I found that ivory image there, dancing with her chosen youth. But when he wound her coal-black hair, as though to strangle her, no scream or bodily movement did I dare. Eyes under eyelids did so gleam. Love is like the lion's tooth. When she, and though some said she played, I said that she had danced heart's truth, drew a knife to strike him dead, I could but leave him to his fate. For, no matter what is said, they had all that had their hate. Love is like the lion's tooth. Did he die, or did she die? Seemed to die, or died they both? God be with the times when I cared not a thranning for what chanced, so that I had the limbs to try such a dance as there was danced. Love is like the lion's tooth. I'll have to read the 3 bushes. Such a dance as there was danced. Number 8, Girl's Song. I went out alone to sing a song or two, my fancy on a man, and you know who. Another came in sight that on a stick relied to hold himself upright. I sat and cried. And that was all my song. When everything is told, saw I an old man young or young man old. 9, Young Man's Song. She will change, I cried, into a withered crone. The heart in my side that so still had lain in noble rage replied and beat upon the bone. Uplift those eyes and throw those glances unafraid. She would as bravely show did all the fabric fade. No withered crone I saw before the world was made. Abashed by that report, for the heart cannot lie, I knelt in the dirt, and all shall bend the knee to my offended heart until it pardon me. 10. Her anxiety. Earth in beauty dressed awaits returning spring. All true love must die. I'll start that one again. Her anxiety. Earth in beauty dressed awaits returning spring. All true love must die, alter at the best into some lesser thing, prove that I lie. Such body lovers have, such exacting breath, that they touch or sigh, every touch they give, love is nearer death, prove that I lie. 11. I'll probably just have time to finish this words for music, perhaps. If I'm lucky, put in the three bushes and then call it a night. 11. His confidence. Undying love to buy, I wrote upon the corners of this eye, all wrongs done. What payment were enough for undying love? I broke my heart in two. So hard I struck. What matter? For I know that out of rock, out of a desolate source, love leaps upon its course. That's one that I'm sure is not in here. 12. Love's loneliness. Old fathers, great grandfathers, rise as kindred should. If ever lover's loneliness came where you stood, pray that heaven protect us, that protect your blood. The mountain throws a shadow, thin is the moon's horn. What did we remember under the ragged thorn? Dread has followed longing, and our hearts are torn. 13. Her dream. I dreamed as in my bed I lay, all night's fathomless wisdom come, that I had shorn my locks away and laid them on love's lettered tomb. But something bore them out of sight in a great tumult of the air, and after nailed upon the night Berenice's burning hair. 14. His bargain. Who talks of Plato's spindle? What set it whirling round? Eternity may dwindle, time is unwound. Dan and Jerry Lout change their loves about. However they may take it, before the thread began, I made and may not break it, when the last thread has run, a bargain with that hair, and all the windings there. Okay, 15, now we're back to one that I know. 3 things. O cruel death, give 3 things back, sang a bone upon the shore. A child found all a child can lack, whether of pleasure or of rest, upon the abundance of my breast. A bone wave whitened and dried in the wind. 3 dear things that women know, sang a bone upon the shore. A man, if I but held him so, when my body was alive, found all the pleasure that life gave, a bone wave whitened and dried in the wind. The third thing that I think of yet, sang a bone upon the shore, is that morning when I met face to face my rightful man, and did after stretch and yawn, a bone wave whitened and dried in the wind. (16) Lullaby. Beloved, may your sleep be sound, that have found it where you fed. What were all the world's alarms to mighty Paris when he found sleep upon a golden bed, that first dawn in Helen's arms? Sleep, beloved, such a sleep as did that wild Tristram know, when, the potion's work being done, roe could run or doe could leap under oak and beechen bough. Roe could leap or doe could run, such a sleep and sound as fell upon Eurota's grassy bank, when the holy bird that there accomplished his predestined will, from the limbs of Leda sank, but not from her protecting care. I'll have to go back to that one. 17, after long silence. Speech after long silence, it is right. All lovers, no, I'll start that again. Speech, no. Let me give you the title again. After long silence. Speech after long silence. It is right, all other lovers being estranged or dead, unfriendly lamplight hid under its shade, the curtains drawn upon unfriendly night, that we descant and yet again descant upon the supreme theme of art and song. Bodily decrepitude is wisdom. Young, we loved each other and were ignorant. (18) Mad as the mist and snow. Bolt and bar the shutter, for the foul winds blow. Our minds are at their best this night, and I seem to know that everything outside us is mad as the mist and snow. Horace there by Homer stands, Plato stands below, and here is Tully's open page. How many years ago were you and I unlettered lads, mad as the mist and snow? You ask what makes me sigh, old friend, what makes me shudder so? I shudder and I sigh to think that even Cicero and many-minded Homer were mad as the mist and snow. Interesting, another one that I don't particularly recognize, themes that are not unfamiliar in other poems by Yeats. Gee, I don't know if I have time to get through these. Oh yeah, we're coming to it. 19, those dancing days are gone. Come, let me sing into your ear. Those dancing days are gone. All that silk and satin gear crouch upon a stone, wrapping that foul body up in as foul a rag. I carry the sun in a golden cup, the moon in a silver bag. Curse as you may, I sing it through. What matter if the knave that the most could pleasure you, the children that he gave, are somewhere sleeping like a top under a marble flag. I carry the sun in a golden cup, the moon in a silver bag. I thought it out this very day, noon upon the clock. A man may put pretense away who leans upon a stick, may sing and sing until he drop. Whether to maid or hag, I carry the sun in a golden cup, the moon in a silver bag. Okay, here we go. Number 20. I am of Ireland. I am of Ireland, and the holy land of Ireland, and time runs on, cried she. Come out of charity, come dance with me in Ireland. One man alone, in that outlandish gear, one solitary man, of all that rambled there, had turned his stately head. That is a long way off, and time runs on, he said, and the night grows rough. I am of Ireland, and the holy land of Ireland, and time runs on, cried she. Come out of charity, and dance with me in Ireland. The fiddlers are all thumbs, or the fiddle string accursed. The drums and the kettle drums, and the trumpets all are burst. And the trombone, cried he, the trumpet and trombone, and cocked a malicious eye. But time runs on, runs on. I am of Ireland, and the holy land of Ireland, and time runs on, cried she. Come out of charity, and dance with me in Ireland. You'll find echoes of that dispersed throughout all of my poetry. Particularly the 1996 book, I think, The Soul's Refinement. 21. Well, this is the dancer at, it looks like Cruachan and Croagh Patrick, but there's a footnote that says pronounced in modern Gaelic as if spelled Kraken. So I will try to do that. 21. The dancer at Kraken and Croagh Patrick. I, proclaiming that there is among birds or beasts or men one that is perfect or at peace, danced on Kraken's windy plain, upon Croagh Patrick sang aloud all that could run or leap or swim, whether in wood, water, or cloud, acclaiming, proclaiming, declaiming him. 22. Tom the lunatic. Sang old Tom the lunatic that sleeps under the canopy. What change has put my thoughts astray, and eyes that had so keen a sight? What has turned to smoking wick nature's pure, unchanging light? Hudden and Dudden and Daniel O'Leary, Holy Joe, the beggar man, wenching, drinking, still remain or sing a penance on the road. Something made these eyeballs weary that blinked and saw them in a shroud. Whatever stands in field or flood, bird, beast, fish, or man, mare or stallion, cock or hen, stands in God's unchanging eye, in all the vigor of its blood. In that faith I live or die. 23. Tom at Croken. On Croken's plain slept he that must sing in a rhyme what most could shake his soul. The stallion eternity mounted the mare of time, gat the foal of the world. 24. Old Tom again. Things out of perfection sail, and all their swelling canvas wear, nor shall the self-begotten fail, though fantastic men suppose building yard and stormy shore, winding sheet and swaddling clothes. 25. The Delphic oracle upon Plotinus. Behold that great Plotinus swim, buffeted by such seas. Bland Rhadamanthus beckons him, but the golden race looks dim. Salt blood blocks his eyes. Scattered on the level grass, or winding through the grove, Plato there and Minos pass, there stately Pythagoras, and all the choir of love. So that's it for words, for music, perhaps. This is pretty good. If I can find the three bushes, I'll close with that. That, incidentally, is a poem also read by Dylan Thomas in the same recording, from which he read that W.H. Auden poem from yesterday. Index to titles, the three. Sorry to make you wait. Three bushes. 296. Okay, yeah, I figured it was coming. Ah, here we go. And then we'll call it a night. The Three Bushes. An incident from the Historia Mei Temporis of the Abbé Michel de Bourdet. I should add that this tale exists in other places as well. Said lady once to lover, none can rely upon a love that lacks its proper food. And if your love were gone, how could you sing these songs of love? I should be blamed, young man. Oh, my dear, oh, my dear. Have no lit candles in your room, that lovely lady said, that I at midnight by the clock may creep into your bed. For if I saw myself creep in, I think I should drop dead. Oh, my dear, oh, my dear. I love a man in secret, dear chambermaid, said she. I know that I must drop down dead if he stop loving me. Yet what could I but drop down dead if I lost my chastity? Oh, my dear, oh, my dear. So you must lie beside him and let him think me there. And maybe we are all the same where no candles are. And maybe we are all the same that strip the body bare. Oh, my dear, oh, my dear. But no dogs barked and midnights chimed, and through the chime she'd say, that was a lucky thought of mine, my lover looked so gay, but heaved a sigh if the chambermaid looked half asleep all day. Oh, my dear, oh, my dear. No, not another song, said he, because my lady came a year ago for the first time at midnight to my room, and I must lie between the sheets when the clock begins to chime. Oh, my dear, oh, my dear. A laughing, crying, sacred song, a leching song, they said. Did ever men hear such a song? No, but that day they did. Did ever man ride such a race? No, not until he rode. Oh, my dear, oh, my dear. But when his horse had put its hoof into a rabbit hole, he dropped upon his head and died. His lady saw it all, and dropped and died thereon, for she loved him with all her soul. Oh, my dear, oh, my dear. The chambermaid lived long and took their graves into her charge, and there 2 bushes planted, that when they had grown large, seemed sprung from but a single root. So did their roses merge. Oh, my dear, oh, my dear. When she was old and dying, the priest came where she was. She made a full confession. Long looked he in her face, and oh, he was a good man, and understood her case. Oh, my dear, oh, my dear. He bade them take and bury her beside her lady's man, and set a rose tree on her grave. And now none living can, when they have plucked a rose there, know where its roots began. Oh, my dear, oh, my dear. I should go on. This develops, but that I will save for another time. That is my evening with William Butler Yeats. What was that quote again? Let's see if I can find it. I think it's towards the very end. Well, I'll read that and read the final part of the quartets. We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. Through the unknown, remembered gate, when the last of earth left to discover is that which was the beginning. At the source of the longest river, the voice of the hidden waterfall, and the children in the apple tree, not known, because not looked for, but heard, half heard, in the stillness between two waves of the sea. Quick now, here, now, always, a condition of complete simplicity, costing not less than everything, and all shall be well, and all manner of thing shall be well, when the tongues of flame are enfolded into the crowned knot of fire, and the fire and the rose are one. So, we hope all shall be well, and all manner of thing be well. As I say, these are trying times. Not dark times quite yet, but if you watch that Texas Paul video from today, you will be shuddering a little bit, quaking a little bit. It's good to have good information when you can find it in a time when so many people would rather just pretend otherwise, or feel that by putting a label on a thing, they can discount it, and that they can discount what they are doing. I have said before that if you were a voter for this present administration, you are not a good person. That does not require a fancy label. TDS was it? The only TD I knew was tardive dyskinesia, and I tried to figure out what it was. Have you no decency? No, not if you voted for this regime. Maybe I will try to do something focused around Roger Casement. I'll poke through what I have. He wrote poetry as well. I have a poem by him quoted in my book, Sheetrock Tabernacle, a hero of modern times. And we all need heroes to look up to. Thank you very much for stopping by my channel.